Hi, my name is Adam Carter, and I want to share with you a story that changed my life forever. On October 17, 1986, I was in a terrible accident while riding my bike home after work. I didn't just come close to death. I actually crossed over and experienced something extraordinary. For 8 minutes, I was clinically dead. During that time, I saw and felt things that words can barely describe. But what I learned in those moments has stayed with me, and I believe God wants me to share it with you. It started as a normal day. I'm an architect, and back then I was working on a major project. My job often kept me at the office late, but I didn't mind. I loved the creativity and precision of designing spaces that would one day become homes or workplaces for others. That evening, I decided to ride my bike home. It was one of those crisp autumn evenings when the air feels fresh and alive. The leaves on the trees were turning golden, and the sky was painted with soft hues of pink and orange as the sun began to set. As I pedaled along, I felt a rare moment of peace. My mind wandered to the project I'd been working on, imagining how it would all come together. I was so focused on the beauty of the moment that I didn't see the car coming. It happened in an instant. A car veered too wide on a bend, speeding toward me. I had no time to react. The last thing I remember is the sound of screeching tires and the impact as the car hit me. The next thing I knew, I was no longer on the ground. I was floating above the scene of the accident, watching everything unfold as though I were an observer. I could see my body lying on the pavement, motionless. People were gathering, and I saw someone kneeling beside me, checking my pulse. An ambulance arrived quickly, and paramedics jumped into action. But what struck me most was that I didn't feel any fear or pain. Instead, I felt completely calm, as if all the noise and chaos below couldn't touch me. For the first time, I realized that I wasn't my body. What I was seeing down there was just a shell, a temporary vessel. The real me was something far greater. As I floated higher, I noticed a light in the distance. It wasn't just a bright light. It was alive, pulsing with energy, love, and warmth. I felt drawn to it, as though it were calling my name. I began to move toward the light, and as I did, I entered what I can only describe as a tunnel. This tunnel wasn't dark or confining. It was filled with vibrant colors that seemed to shimmer and dance around me. The closer I got to the light, the more I felt a sense of peace and joy that I had never experienced before. It was as if all the worries and fears of my earthly life were being stripped away, leaving only pure love and freedom. When I reached the end of the tunnel, I found myself in a place so beautiful and peaceful that words can't fully describe it. Everything around me seemed alive, not just with physical life, but with energy, love, and purpose. The landscape was unlike anything I had ever seen. There were fields of vibrant colors, greens, blues, and golds that shimmered as if they were lit from within. The air itself felt warm and alive, filled with a music that wasn't coming from any instrument, but seemed to be woven into the very fabric of this place. But the most amazing thing was the light. It wasn't like the sun or any light we know on Earth. It was radiant and warm, wrapping around me like a blanket of love. This light wasn't just something I saw, it was something I felt deep in my soul. As I stood there, I realized that I wasn't alone. In the distance, I noticed 5 figures approaching me. They were beings of light, glowing with a brilliance that was almost too much to look at, yet I couldn't turn away. They didn't have physical forms like we do, but their presence was unmistakable. The moment they came near, I felt an overwhelming sense of familiarity. It was like meeting old friends I hadn't seen in a lifetime, yet somehow I knew they had been with me all along. They didn't speak with words, but their thoughts and emotions flowed directly into me. One of them, who seemed to be my guide, said, "Welcome home, Adam. You are safe here." The beings then showed me a series of images and moments from my life. It was like watching a movie, but I didn't just see the events, I felt them. I felt the emotions of every person I had ever interacted with. For example, I was shown a moment when I was a child, and I had teased another boy at school. At the time, I thought it was harmless fun. But now, I could feel his hurt and sadness, as if they were my own. I was also shown moments of kindness, times when I had comforted a friend or helped a stranger. In those moments, I felt a warmth and joy that was indescribable. The beings explained that every action, no matter how small, creates ripples that affect the people around us. They said, "Love is the greatest force in the universe. Every time you choose kindness, forgiveness, or compassion, you are living in alignment with God's purpose." As the life review ended, the beings of light showed me something even more profound: the interconnectedness of all life. I saw the earth from a distance, and around it was a web of light connecting every living being. This web wasn't just physical, it was spiritual, a reflection of how deeply intertwined we all are. I realized that every thought, word, and action sends ripples through this web. When we act with love, we strengthen the light. When we act out of fear or anger, we weaken it. The beings said, "This is why your choices matter. Every soul is part of this great design, and every soul has a purpose." As the beings of light stepped back, I was drawn toward an even greater presence. It was the source, a radiant, overwhelming light that was the essence of everything. It was brighter than the sun, but it didn't hurt to look at. In fact, the closer I got, the more I felt its warmth and love. This light wasn't just around me. It was in me, through me, and all-encompassing. It felt as though every part of my being was connected to it, as though I was finally seeing the true home I had always longed for. In that moment, I understood that this light was God. Not the distant or abstract God I had sometimes imagined, but a personal, loving creator who knew me completely. The love I felt from this light was indescribable. It wasn't just love, it was the very definition of love. It was unconditional, eternal, and infinite. I felt fully known, with all my flaws and mistakes laid bare, yet fully accepted and cherished. Standing in the presence of the Source, I didn't hear words, but I received a deep understanding, instant and complete. These were the truths that I was shown. We are eternal beings. Our physical bodies are temporary, but our souls are eternal. Earth is like a classroom, where we learn, grow, and evolve spiritually. Death is not the end. It's a transition to a higher existence. Love is our true purpose. The purpose of life is simple: to love and to grow in love. Every act of kindness, forgiveness, or compassion aligns us with God's divine plan. We are all connected. Every soul is part of a greater whole. When we hurt someone, we hurt ourselves. When we love someone, we strengthen the light that connects us all. Free will is sacred. We are given free will to choose our path. While God's love is always available, it's up to us to open our hearts and align ourselves with that love. Challenges are opportunities. The hardships we face on earth are not punishments, but opportunities to grow. Through these challenges, we develop strength, empathy, and resilience. The Source then showed me what humanity could become if we embraced these truths. I saw a world where people lived in harmony, supporting one another with love and compassion. In this vision, there was no division, no hatred, no fear, only unity. People worked together to care for the earth and for each other. It was a glimpse of what could be if we chose to live in alignment with God's love. But I was also shown the consequences of turning away from that love. In those moments, I felt the weight of fear, anger, and selfishness that had created so much suffering in the world. The message was clear. The choice is ours. We have the power to create a world of love or to continue in division and pain. As I stood in the presence of the Source, feeling more at peace and more whole than I had ever felt, I began to sense a shift. The light around me softened, and the beings of light reappeared. One of them stepped forward and said, "Adam, it's not your time yet. You have more to do." I felt a deep sadness at the thought of leaving this place. I didn't want to go back. The love and peace I felt here were so complete that the idea of returning to my physical body seemed overwhelming. I said, "Why can't I stay? Please, don't send me back." The being gently replied, "Your journey isn't finished. There are people you need to help, lessons you need to share, and light you need to bring to the world." The source itself seemed to fill me with encouragement, as if to say, "You are never alone. My love will go with you." Before I knew it, I felt myself being pulled away from the light. The warmth and peace began to fade, and I felt a sense of heaviness returning. Suddenly, the sound of the physical world came rushing back, the beeping of machines, voices shouting instructions, and the faint hum of an ambulance engine. I opened my eyes and found myself surrounded by paramedics. Their expressions were a mix of relief and amazement. One of them said, "We thought we lost you, but you're back." I later learned that my heart had stopped for 8 minutes. The doctors called my recovery a miracle, but I knew it was more than that. I had been sent back for a purpose. Since that day, my life has never been the same. I can't look at the world the way I used to. Every person I meet, every moment I live, feels like part of something much greater. I no longer focus on material success or petty worries. Instead, I try to live each day with love and purpose. I look for ways to help others, to show kindness, and to bring light into the lives of those around me. It's not always easy. Life still has its challenges, but now I see those challenges as opportunities to grow and to learn. I know that every act of love, no matter how small, has the power to ripple outward and make a difference. If there's one thing I want you to take away from my story, it's this. You are loved more than you can imagine. You are not just a body, you are an eternal soul, connected to a God who sees you, knows you, and loves you unconditionally. You have a purpose. Every person you meet, every choice you make, is an opportunity to share love, to grow, and to make the world a better place. And if you ever feel lost or alone, remember that you are never truly alone. God's love surrounds you, and His light is always within you, guiding you back to Him. If my story has touched your heart, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, how can I live with more love, more purpose, and more connection to God? Take time to pray, to reach out to someone in need, or to simply be kind to a stranger. These small acts matter. They create ripples that reach far beyond what we can see. I also want to invite you to share this message. If you know someone who is searching for hope, love, or purpose, share this video with them. And if you'd like to hear more stories like mine, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment below. Thank you for listening to my story. Remember, you are loved, you are seen, and you are never alone. May God bless you and guide you on your journey.